Howdy all, Nurse Dude here, and today I have a pair of gloves, specifically the Environmental Control Corporation FR Glove. I work with my hands daily, and one of the big things that I like to do, specifically because I'm dealing with patients a lot, is I try to keep them relatively scuff and cut free. And also, I've learned my lesson one too many times with a wrench and hammer, banging and cracking fingernails and busting knuckles. So, having a pair of quality good gloves is always something that I have sought to have and things that I've had over the years. I saw this post on Instagram from these guys, and you can thank Mrs. Nurse Dude for the pre-openage of the package. But with that being said, these are, I believe, Kevlar, nylon, and kangaroo leather gloves. They have enormous different variety of sizes. I think they have 9 different sizes, which is huge for gloves, but they measure the length of your fingers and palm down to your wrist to this, I think, first crease or wrinkle for your wrist joint, and then they also do the circumference of your palm at the widest diameter, and that varying different combinations gets you one of the 9 sizes. I wound up being a large regular. Go figure. So with that being said, the construction of the gloves looks very nice so far. I've only tried them on. I haven't broken them in yet. Their procedure for breaking the gloves recommends that you either use a hot water bath or a cold water bath, depending on if you want to shrink or loosen the gloves respectively, and then kind of work them in and move your hands around, and then ultimately kind of let them dry so they form to the shape of your fingers and palms. So overall though, I like the stitching on them. They're done very well. They look like they have some really nice attention to detail as far as the different seams and then the different points for articulation on the glove. You can see here that I noticed that they are not quite perfectly symmetrical, and that's probably more so due just to the nature of that they're made out of leather. So not every piece of leather that they can have is going to be perfectly similar. The only downside I found so far is this big freaking tag. I wish they had not done that. I know you can rip them off and everything, and they look like they'll come apart pretty easily, but a smaller tag would have been nice. And then my only other gripe looking at them so far is that they have the hook on the tab side instead of the glove side, which I can see that if you're wearing long sleeves, having the hook on the glove side would get caught. But my gripe would be that you have a little bit larger wrists, and then suddenly you're having the hook side rub against your wrist and then potentially cause a chafe point. That's the only essential gripes I can see with the initial looking and inspection. Really nice pull tabs, which are reinforced pretty darn well there. So here, I'll put them on really quick so you guys can see. The packaging is stupid simple, which I absolutely love. Minimal waste there. They do have little shape keepers in them for packaging, and here we'll put on the right ones so you guys can see. They are quite tight, and they go up a fair amount on the wrist, which is pretty nice. And then I think I got almost the exact perfect size. I just have a little tiny bit of free movement on my pointer finger and my thumb, and then they're all almost perfect on my fingertips and my palm. I find that I typically have a larger palm and shorter fingers for my size hand, so it's really nice to be able to have a glove that fits pretty darn well. And you can see there's a little bit of flex. I kind of think they almost look like old style driving gloves. So either which way though, we'll break them in here and we'll start using them, and I'll see you guys on the break for that. So I was able to break the gloves in. I did the recommended putting them in warm or hot water to kind of loosen them up. I felt like right here at the webbing of my finger, the glove was a little tight. And now, while it is still a little tight on it, I can definitely tell there's a lot more room after the leather relaxed. So I've kind of started breaking them in. Oh, I also used the recommended leather care oil that they have on their website, and you can see it definitely made this palm a bit darker than the other, but all in all, it's not too bad. Yeah, I like the gloves. They're starting to break in pretty well. You can see here that they're starting to kind of match to the seams in my fingers pretty well. And as far as the keeping it loose on the strap and not having it bite you, I took a little piece of a loop side Velcro on there so that way I can just, you know, loosely put it on there without it biting my wrist. And so far, I like them. The only, I say, potential risks as far as overall durability is I've noticed that right here in the palm, some of the stitching is starting to fray on the left hand, not so much on the right hand, thankfully. And then obviously with our spots and our webbings and the other high, I would say high wear and high dexterity areas. You can see the seam right there is pretty stretched and tight. I would probably assume right there would probably be my first failure points. And then same here on the gloves. It's probably going to be where they bust first, but I imagine that will probably take a while, mostly because they're not an every single day use type glove. They're only when I'm out doing stuff. And oh, another thing is I don't find them too hot, thankfully. So even though that they are leather, they're relatively thin leather, lightweight leather at that. They're really more of a dexterity glove to kind of keep the grime off your hands. You know, if you slip and fall while you're out doing stuff, keeps you from busting up your palms. So I like them. We'll see how they last here for the next however long they do. So far, I like them. I think they're a pretty good buy. They definitely feel great. They're not too heavy, and I feel like I still have good dexterity. So I'll put a link down in the bottom for you guys, and I will talk to you later.